Hello everyone and welcome to the Innsmouth Case. This is a game that I played a little while back. It is a text adventure game that mixes a little bit of comedy and a little bit of horror. It is inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. This game is very long. You really wouldn't think so with the storyline, but it has so many different endings. There's lots of places to visit, and if you are an achievement hunter, there are lots of achievements to get. Some are a little more trickier than others, but instead of playing the full game, which trust me, I would love to, but I would be hoarse by the end of it from all the reading. So instead of doing a full playthrough, I'm just going to show you from the beginning to my official first ending. And that's all I'm gonna say. But I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end, but I hope that you all enjoy. Alright, so Boston, the 21st of September. This is our office. The last rays of sunshine filter through the blinds of your empty office. The pathetic stench of whiskey, cold cigarette smoke, and canned ravioli fills the air. The screeching tires and constant beeping of the car horns out there on the street tell you that it's gone 8 p.m. People are on their way home, finishing their day. You should join them. You decide. Well, obviously we've indulged in some whiskey. Hopefully not too much, because you should never drink and drive. But if it was me, I would go home. You breathe a deep sigh. It may not have been a successful day, but at least it's over. You are looking forward to a classic Friday night. Watching old mystery series at home in sweatpants and getting drunk on cheap booze. Since the early afternoon, you have been staring at a foreboding bottle of liquor on the other end of the room. Up until now, a vague sense of professionalism has kept you from drinking yourself into oblivion. Now, nothing stands in your way. Suddenly, you hear someone at the door. Say, who is it? The door slowly cracks open with a timid creak. The unknown guest pauses, then, in a breathy and melodic tone, you hear a woman utter, "Hello?" Your insides cramp. You suddenly realize that you haven't cleaned your office at all this year. You, See, this has happened to me where people just show up very unexpectedly at my house, and I either, one, don't answer the door, two, I do try and clean up very quickly and hope that they don't leave in the meantime. So yeah, I'm gonna say try and clean up. Wait a minute, wait. You shout in a pitch that is at least 2 octaves higher than intended. There's no time to pick up all the crumpled pieces of paper on the floor. You gaze across the total mess on your desk. A weird, undefinable crust has formed on the wood. You've never noticed that before. You try to hide it by putting some unpaid bills over them. They get stuck immediately. Nice. Okay, that's just gross. Whoa, look at her. Alright. By the light of the desk lamp, you now see more than a silhouette. A breathtaking woman lights up your office. No doubt older than 40, maybe even 50, hard to say. Clad in black, a skin-tight dress culminating in a décolleté that seems to defy the laws of gravity. The smoky eyeshadow as dark as algae washed ashore. Blonde, coiffed, wavy hair under a dark beret. The faint light of the setting sun catches in the strands of her hair, and you wonder how many heads this woman must have turned during her prime. She's completely different from your usual customers. Nervous bankers with sweatpants under their armpits, convinced their wives have something going with the mailman. Every move she makes is calculated grace. Smooth as an eel, she walks towards you and sits down on the corner of your desk. If it was me, I would think that it was a little bold, because if there's a seat, then sit in it. Which is a little bold, without asking you first, but as a professional, you're not giving anything away. She seems to want to play the seductive damsel in distress. The quiet, amused voice of your subconscious is pleased that this stranger may be sharing your enthusiasm for film noir cliches. A far louder voice is surprised that this woman seems to think that a sexy pose and revealing clothes could win you over. And both voices agree that they don't like being manipulated. You don't think that the stranger perched on your table is trying to recover from a hard-working day as a lingerie model, and therefore you see no logical reason for her behavior. When she begins to speak, her voice is smoky and full of promise. My name is Dahlia Marsh. I'm looking for a private investigator. I was told you are one of the best. She extends her hand. I wouldn't say of course, because we don't know what the situation is yet. I guess I would kiss her hand, because that's like the polite thing to do. You kiss her hand and waggle your eyebrows in the same manner you've seen so often in the classic movies. Oh my. This woman moves in higher circles and is used to luxury. You can tell by the strong smell of caviar she gives off. It's a bit weird. If you play this right, you might even be able to increase the fee for this case. What now? Okay, I would not keep flirting. That's not professional, so just get down to the business. Find out what she's here for. It's about my daughter Tabitha. She has disappeared. You're pulling out a paper and pencil. This is gonna be a walk in the park. A walk in the kidnapped kids park. Well, when did you last see her, and where? The woman puts on a fake smile. We live in Innsmouth. It's a small port town north of Arkham. You frown. This is a bit vague. What was your child doing when you last saw her? What about hobbies? You know, does she have any? Oh my. Oh, you know, kid stuff. They just run around and play with their yo-yos, that sort of thing. Dahlia nervously combs her hands through her hair. Well, out of those options, I think finding out what the daughter looks like is a main task here. You need to know who you're looking for. She's only 8 and the sweetest girl you can imagine. She's been missing without a trace since last week. None of her schoolmates have seen her, and no one knows where she might have gone. She hands you a photo. Look, this is my little munchkin. Oh, goodness. That was good. That's funny. Alrighty. Good heavens. Is this supposed to be a joke? Is this really the face of a child or a shoddy photo edit? Are you being filmed as part of a reality TV show? A bit of stomach acid and the last bite of lunch slowly but surely make their way up into the back of your mouth. You... do not throw up in your desk. That is nasty. I would just... swallow it. I mean, if you're gonna throw up, try and do that in a garbage can where at least you can throw that out. So, yeah, just try and get it down. With narrow eyes, you swallow the bile and involuntarily pull a face. Dahlia continues to look at you hopefully. She obviously didn't notice your little mishap, and that was close and could have been unpleasant. I'm so desperate. Her eyes lock with yours. Okay, don't need to make fun of the child. I guess we'll ask more questions. Does your daughter have any friends? Does your daughter have any friends she might be staying with? Classmates, sports club members, anything like that? Dahlia silently shakes her head. Very strange. You're about to ask if the girl at least had imaginary friends, but you hold back. I guess we'll ask about the yo-yos, because that is a little strange. Hold on. Yo-yos? Ring ring. Can you hear that? It's the 90s calling and they want their outdated toys back. Dahlia blushes. Normally you would find that quite attractive, but the case of a missing girl beckons and you're utterly unconvinced by the way this woman pretends to be a mother. She remains silent. I would confront her, if it was me. Something's fishy here. You have a nose for this sort of thing. That's why you became a private investigator. Or to be more precise, that's why you took an online detective course that, for a one-off fee, provided the necessary qualification. Oh, lordy. Alright. It's time for you to take your... Or it's time to take your visitor to task. Oh, my. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I need to become a private detective. Just take a little online course. You know, no experience needed. You look at her closely. Yeah, why did you come to me? I mean, she did say that we were the best, but like, how do you know that? You get out of your chair. Innsmouth is several miles away from here. Why do you want to hire me? I wouldn't even hire myself. Okay, you're selling it really good. Like you wouldn't even. Okay, that's great. Dahlia crosses her arms. What do you care? Do you want to be paid or not? Yeah, I just want the truth. I mean, that is how we could get some extra money, but I just want the truth. Oh, that face. Goodness me. Right now, I just want the truth. You're sticking to your principles. It's exactly what your instructor warned you about. Still, it feels good. Dahlia takes a step back and releases her tightly crossed arms. I already tried loads of investigators. Anyone who seemed trustworthy, really. But no luck. That's why I'm coming to you. Ouch. We'll just accept the case then. It's fine, right? Right? Right. Totally nothing bad is gonna happen. You nod. A missing persons case. Nothing unusual. The conventional little girl runs away from home after reading her first romance novel. Usually they hide at the edge of the forest or in a library. Should be pretty straightforward. Before you can say anything, she drops a photo of the child and a roll of bills on your desk. For your expenses. You nod slowly, trying not to drool down the front of your shirt. You haven't seen this much money in ages. You don't have much time to prepare. A quick search reveals that only one bus goes to Innsmouth and only once a day. A pattern emerges in your research. A few news items related to this little coastal town are all about missing persons. In addition, you find some rather old-fashioned articles that praise the coastal town as a secret holiday destination. The best fish, untouched beach promenade, authentic fishing people are all the reoccurring buzzwords. Dahlia has given you the address at which you're supposed to drop off her daughter as soon as you find her. She also wrote down her phone number on the child's photo. You take another look at the picture before you pack your things. She's kind of cute, right? A little. The next morning you travel. I don't think we should hitchhike, although I do feel like that would be a little interesting. But I think we have enough money to at least take the bus, so let's do that. Alright, bus station. Boston, the 22nd of September. Your journey begins at a busy bus station. There is supposed to be a bus line that departs from here to Innsmouth. Buses, you think to yourself, are not only an environmentally friendly means of transport, they're also easy on your wallet. Sadly, the departure boards aren't much help. New York, Maine, Rhode Island, no trace of Innsmouth as a destination. You wander around for a while until you notice a cleaner eating a sandwich on the side of one of the vending machines. You look around. Yeah, let's talk to the dude, or... yeah, let's do it. Excuse me, where can I find the bus to Inns... Without letting go of his sandwich, the cleaner points to an abandoned counter in the dingiest corner that a public bus station could be capable of. The man gives you a nod, indicating that anything that can be said has indeed been said. You find that the counter is elaborately decorated in cobwebs. It's a bit early for Halloween preparations, but at least someone's made an effort. At the moment, nobody seems to be there. You press your face against the plastic window to peer into the room behind. Hello? Hello, is anyone there? I have to go to Innsmouth. No one there. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a bus ticket appears on the counter. Might the trip be free? Should you leave payment? I mean, I would. The whole situation is weird, but yeah, just leave some money on the counter. You're a staunch defender of the law. It goes without saying that you pay. You put a few coins in the bowl underneath the foggy glass window. Hopefully they won't be stolen by the next passenger. Even if someone were sitting behind the counter, they wouldn't be able to see him. It's just too dark. You're distracted for a few seconds, and suddenly there's some change on the counter. What's that in amongst the coins? It's a small golden fishing hook. How strange. Where's this bus hiding? In between the polished greyhounds and travelers stowing their luggage, saying goodbye and dropping tiredly into the seats, there's a kind of dumpster. A dumpster with windows and wheels? No, it's actually a bus. It's a bit on the rusty side, and even from a distance you sense the strange smell it emits. Is that sulfur? You're not convinced how this thing is supposed to drive. In its vicinity, everything is noticeably quieter than at the other bus stops. The people getting on show no sign of emotion. Nobody is trying to jump the queue here. Instead, the passengers move past the bus driver at a uniform speed, one after the other, shuffling up the creaking steps. Each two-seater bench is occupied by individuals, as if they want to make sure not to come in contact with their fellow passengers. The sign clearly says Innsmouth. No departure times, no stopovers, just Innsmouth. Undecided, you're standing on the stairs of the bus. I guess show our ticket, right? You hand over the driver the ticket. No reaction. At least you can't make out a reaction. The lighting is poor and the shadow of his dusty driver's cap covers almost his entire face. You notice something strange on his neck, but you can't quite make out what it might be. You're standing in the door waiting for an okay, a nod, anything. The sulfur odor has increased. A queue has formed behind you, but no one is pushing or complaining. The people wait quietly and patiently. Well, hey, that's nice, right? Nice etiquette. Get out of here? No. Say something. I just keep walking, I guess. You shuffle sideways through the center aisle. You don't remember the bus looking this long from the outside. You are surrounded by shabby two-seater benches, and some are already occupied. One traveler per row. The last bench is free. Looks like the upholstery's torn in some places, though, or has it been slit open? You can see springs with sharp wire edges, and some sticky liquid seems to have leaked onto the floor. Why didn't you just sit down in one of the free rows? Here in the back, almost everything is occupied. Most of the passengers seem to have purposely sat down in the aisle seats blocking off the window seats. Maybe this is an opportunity to get closer to the common Innsmouth visitor. You gaze across the rows of seats. If we sit with someone, we could get some information, especially if they're like a local, or if they're a traveler, like, you know, why are you coming to Innsmouth? So I say sit down. As a non-conformist, you join one of the passengers in a double seat. Since only one man was so considerate as to sit at the window, your options are limited anyway. As far as you can tell, the man is a haggard figure with barely any luggage. The hood of the gray jumper pulled far onto his face. The man looks out onto the street as if something very important is happening that requires his attention. "Is this seat taken?" you ask politely. He turns his head and gives you a brief once-over. Ooh, look at his hands! Oh my gosh, they're webbed. Okay, that's weird. Without saying a word, he turns away again. Well, let's sit. Alright, that wasn't a no either. You sit down and regret it instantly. The smell of sulfur is now overpowered by something else. Something that smells like it's been in the sun for too long. Eeh. Okay. You're trying to catch a glimpse of what's under that hoodie. Does this person have a genetic defect? Is he malnourished? You're not sure exactly where the problem might be, but you're trying to stay professional. You awkwardly stare at the headrest of the person in front of you. Yeah, let's talk to him. This is the chance to get some inside information. Exactly. We'll just do small talk about veganism? No. Play the tourist, I guess, right? Oh! That was worse than what I thought. Yikes. Okay. You clear your throat before you speak. Twitching, and with a slight tremor, the man turns to you. Excuse me, I'm visiting Innsmouth for the first time. Do you happen to come from there? A twitch is all you get. Maybe you should get to the point. It's hard to tell if you're boring him. Yeah, let's just ask a few tourism tips, maybe. Does Innsmouth have any sights? Your neighbor stares into the middle distance. Is he thinking? The silence between the two of you is hardly bearable. The beach. He finally stutters. Your eyes meet again. The old town, he adds. Well, that could have gone worse. The small talk has been gruelingly slow, so you decide to let it go. This ride is taking forever. The bus leaves the country road and turns off at a wooden sign that says Innsmouth in red, flaky letters. The journey continues rather bumpily along a narrow dirt road littered with numerous potholes. In the distance, some houses are already visible, seagulls circling the roofs of the outermost edge of the city. Slowly, all passengers take their bags out from under the seats and get ready. Curious, you look through... I say look through the side window. We're gonna see what's in the front, so the side. That's odd. The bus passes by a huge... What is this? A scrapyard? Parking lot? Why would something like this be right outside the city? You pass another wooden sign whose half-peeled writing advertises the Innsmouth Park and Ride area. A lot of cars look like they've been sitting here for years. Sand covers some of the bonnets and windscreens. Okay, see that's a sign. Like, maybe, like, what happened to all the people who own those cars? Huh? No? Okay. The front door of the bus opens with a squeak and you join the monotonous line of locals stepping out of the bus as if in a daze. Almost walking in a step, you all get closer to the exit. As you walk down the steps, you have to protect your eyes from the sunlight. Turns out the windows of the bus were tinted. The other passengers shuffle off. Oh, okay, so we're actually in Innsmouth now. The town limits, anyways. Finally, Innsmouth. You examine your surroundings while you stretch your legs, trying to unwind from the stressful journey. No artist could have adequately captured the serenity and beauty of this place. A clear blue sky lights up the town square, which is paved with bright limestone and surrounded by neo-colonial buildings reminiscent of the 19th century New England. A fresh sea breeze, crying seagulls, and locals going about their business. In the center of the square, water trickles from a fountain. As you stretch your limbs and breathe in the clean air, you suddenly get startled by the water figure right in front of you. The fountain is an enormous fish-like brass creature. An open jaw lined with shark-like fangs spouts brackish water down its massive, inhumanly contorted body. As if that wasn't enough, there appears to be human bodies squirming underneath its massive claws. Their faces are all contorted as yours is right now. How long have you been standing here? Eyes wide open in shock, you feel utterly paralyzed. You start to scan the town square and notice more and more disturbing details. On every corner you spot ornamental statues and reliefs of fish, but these are not your classic harmless kind of fish. These are pagan symbols and grimaces of supernatural creatures from the dark crevices of the deep sea. In surrounding houses you can see faces pressed against the windows. All the locals appear to be watching you. You suddenly start to think that the cries of the seagulls sound particularly human-like. They sound like humans crying out in pain. What happened to the idyllic scene from a few moments ago? Okay, everything about this is weird. Why is everyone looking at us? That statue is weird. Okay. I have a feeling this definitely has something to do with some fish, right? Mm-hmm. With the webbed fingers, and it looked like that one dude had gills on his neck. Okay. Welcome to Innsmouth. Oh wait, no, this is someone talking. Oh. Okay, I guess we should turn around.
Welcome to Innsmouth. How nice of you to visit.
A small elderly woman waves at you from afar. She beams at you as if you were her long-lost grandchild. She seems very different to the boors you've met so far on the bus into town. Her squealing shakes you out of your nightmarish panic.
It's so good to have you here. I've noticed you very taken by our local fountain. It was built in 1704 by Abdul Necratis, favorite artist and friend of Charles Dexter Tilligast, the founder of Innsmouth. The central figure was a present, and it was supposed to commemorate their travels together to Cairo. You can clearly see the Egyptian influences in Necratis' work, here and here.
She points wildly in every direction.
And here, but I'm sure you've already noticed this yourself. You look like someone who knows his way around art,
she says with a wide smile. You're still in shock. She beams at you. Sure, we're an art historian. Totally. I'm an art historian, of course. She enthusiastically starts clapping and squealing. A small, plump person in a garish costume who finishes off all of her sentences with a delectable chuckle.
Oh, I noticed that at once. How rude of me. I haven't even introduced myself. My name is Muriel Pooping Place.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Okay. What an interesting name. Alright.
I'm the director of the Parks Commission, chief tourism officer, and head of the welcoming committee. Ta-da!
Behind Muriel, there's a ramshackle wooden information stand lovingly decorated with balloons. A colorful painted sign reads, "Welcome to Innsmouth." Muriel tiptoes over to her information stand and picks up a whole load of flyers and leaflets from the rickety display cases. She looks down at all the papers in her arms and briefly shrieks with laughter.
My goodness, why don't you take this city map to begin with? Useful.
Useful. You take the map and put it into your coat pocket.
Would you like to find out more about our wonderful town, which has been awarded the East Coast Stunning Town Award for several years in a row?
And would you? Sure. Muriel claps her hands excitedly and squeals. She begins unfolding one of her maps and points at 3 different locations in the town.
The town center here should be the next stop on your trip. There's a lively up-and-coming shopping street in Innsmouth, and since May, our local fountain has even had real running water.
Muriel starts waving her index finger at you.
I know what you're thinking. This town is being too showy for its own good, but I can assure you we've all kept our feet on the ground. Even after the whole thing with the East Coast Stunning Town Awards.
Her finger now points to a different area on the map.
The old town of Innsmouth is completely preserved. You think nothing was ever done to the facades of the old houses. Within 4 miles of here, you won't find any new builds.
Your face is unwillingly slipped into an expressionless mask due to a sheer boredom of it all.
And then,
Muriel points to the coastline on the map.
the amazing beach promenade. A dreamy beach with a bar that serves all the drinks your heart desires. I hope you brought enough stress with you, because at the beach, pure relaxation awaits you.
The small woman chortles. Yep, just thank her. Thanks ever so much, ma'am. Muriel seems delighted.
Nothing gives me more pleasure than ensuring visitors have a great time in our pretty little town. Will you be staying here for a few nights? I can only recommend staying as long as you can. There's just so much to see. Trust me, by the end of your stay, you won't want to leave.
How long are you going to stay? I don't really actually know. Just a short trip, I guess.
Oh, what a shame.
Muriel's enthusiasm quickly faded from her eyes, and she drops her hands, which are still holding the colorful flyers.
I hope you'll find what you're looking for. Have a great time.
Her eyes move past you and settle on a tourist family right behind you. Seemingly at the flick of a switch, she's back to her gleeful demeanor, bouncing over to the next family and waving her brochures. You head further into town along the cobbled road in the direction of the coast. Not long ago, the sun was bright in the sky, but already the first wafts of mist are creeping into the streets. The air feels thicker and the sun can no longer penetrate the fog. Time to think about where you want to go. You slow down. You lean your briefcase against a wall and start pacing up and down the quiet alleyway. You've got an important choice to make right now. The city center is in the north. Even from afar, you can see the outlines of an old and ornately decorated buildings in the main town square. Here you should find the police station, the main shopping street, and of course the town hall. As a coastal town, Innsmouth also has a harbor. From your research, you found out that this is a bustling area with a dreamy beach. You expect there to be mostly tourists. According to your research, the only hotel in the town is Gilman Hotel. It is located in the old town. You think about checking in. You could do with a freshening up and getting rid of that bus smell that is still clinging to your clothes. Just as you are about to set off, your heart leaps into your throat. You've forgotten your briefcase. This has never happened to you. You usually take good care of the little you possess. There's nothing you can do about this now. You will have to wait until your return journey to find out whether someone has handed it into the lost and found. Still, you could swear that that briefcase was already gone when you got off the bus. You decide on... Man. I don't... I mean, the city center said it had the police station and stuff, but if it was me and I just got somewhere, I'd want to, like, settle in first, freshen up before I go and talk to people. That's just me, so I'm gonna pick the hotel. Probably the wrong choice. You recognized its roof from afar, and after a long walk, it is now before you in full splendor. The Gilman Hotel. At least it's easy to see that it once must have been a gorgeous building. The hotel resembles an old English country estate, but in its present state, it would be suited as the setting for a very predictable film about teenagers and chainsaw killers. Wild and withered ivy has a firm grip on the walls and obscures the details of the richly decorated facade. A gallery of gargoyles, melted into unreal shapes by acid rain and acidic pigeon droppings, lines the roof. The many windows, panes that have been neglected for years. Only in a few places has a small area been wiped clean in order to see outside. There are 2 cars in the parking lot, a vintage car with a large rust spot, and a large gray van. The kind of van you've always been warned about as a child. Let's inspect the cars. You look around again just to make sure that the people who own the cars aren't hiding somewhere with their shotgun at ready. The coast is clear. First you walk over to the antique car. Well, you're not a car expert, but the car looks antique to you anyway. Both seats inside are made of white leather, a bit tacky. You turn away from the antique car and look towards the van. No writing on the side, a regular registration plate, the windows in the front blacked out. Hang on, you have a brainwave. Maybe this is the van into which poor Tabitha had been pulled into when she was kidnapped. When she was lured to her awful fate by sweets and lollipops. I would hope not. I mean, anything's possible. Of course, it all makes sense. In all likely childhood, you've just managed to find the actual kidnapper, the seed of all that is evil and wrong in this case, and all you have to do was book a hotel room and stare at cars. You're a natural. Now, all you need is some proof. What's the plan, Stan? Whoa. Try to get into the boot? Wait, what? The boot? Are they talking about, like, the back? Smash in the window? This is probably somebody's vehicle, but I kind of want to see where this goes. Let's try the getting into the boot. Of course, whatever it is that you're looking for, there must be a way in the back of the van. Excitedly, you walk around the van. Sadly, the door is not open. That would have been truly lucky. Full of optimism, you try the handle to see if the door has been left unlocked. There's noticeable resistance when you turn the handle. Damn, you won't get in without the car key. Alright, let's smash the window then. A brilliant idea. Your brain is running at full speed while contemplating itself for its ingenuity. A good day indeed. What's the best way of smashing in the window? No, don't do it with your elbow. Like, no. With a rock. Of course, you're gonna use a rock. You're not completely stupid. You look around on the ground for a suitable stone. Found it. You lift up the tool and weigh it in your hands. Not too dirty. Good grip. Perfect. You look around the parking lot one last time to make sure you're by yourself. You aim and smash the stone right into the window. The window breaks and splinters. That was loud. Hopefully no one will have heard that. You peek inside the driver's cabin. Suddenly the smell of stale old grease creeps up your nostrils. On the floor of the passenger seat, there's a scrunched brown paper bag with the logo of a fast food chain. A paper cup rests on the dashboard. Where are the traces of kidnapped children? You get the feeling that you're wasting your time and you don't want to be caught in the smashed-up vehicle that doesn't belong to you. Luckily, the parking lot and the nearby street seem to be completely deserted. You've stayed in this parking lot for too long. You don't want anyone else to call the police on you. Maybe you should just go and book your room. You really hope the inside of the hotel has been looked after a little better than the outside, but you're quickly dispersed of that notion. The massive wooden door is difficult to open. Shouldn't the staff be doing this anyway? With a loud creaking sound from the hinges and an exhausted puffing and panting on your part, you manage to open the door and enter the lobby of the Gilman Hotel. You wonder if guests are even welcome in this place. The room is sparsely lit. There are impressive chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, which, if working, would perhaps not quite give the grand hall back its original splendor, but at least convey more warmth. Your first steps tell you that there are rotten floorboards hiding underneath the thick carpet. The green wall paneling and paper also appear rotten and musty. Sort of wet. Check into this moldy dump. Let's just go to the reception. I don't think there's any other place to stay here, so... Oh my. He has like little elf ears. Very, very pointy ears. Before you let yourself to be distracted by the questionable interior design and the associated health issues, you walk purposefully towards the reception desk. A small greenish creature stands behind the counter. The loudly humming ceiling lamp above harshly illuminates his silhouette and gives his face hard edges. You can make out every individual speck of dust and dandruff on his dark green velvet collar and crooked shoulders. Maybe they should be dimming the lights after all. The figure smiles at you, or perhaps it's more of a grin. His face unsettles you. You lean forward at an angle to get a better look at him. The corners of his mouth reach all the way up to his dried up ears. His smile looks like it's painted on. His beady eyes lie deep in the cavity of his skull and seem to stare in opposite directions. Has he even blinked yet? And on top of it all, he smells funny.
How may I help you?
You're startled and take a step back.
Welcome to Gilman Hotel. My name is Cornelius Gilman III. How may I be of service to you?
The man's gaze remains unchanged, and his unnatural smile still seems to be etched into his face. You're still surprised that he can talk with that expression on his face. Just a moment ago, you could have sworn he was an inanimate puppet. Just like now when he's not speaking. I don't think it's appropriate to ask what's wrong with his face, okay, even though it is a little strange looking. You have beautiful eyes. Yeah, just book a room. I would like to book a room, you begin, and manage not to blurt out, in a different hotel.
Perfect. The Gilman Hotel is delighted to be able to welcome you as its guest. May I ask whether you are in Innsmouth for business or pleasure? How long will you be staying? Would you prefer a view towards the beach or the skyline of our exciting town? When would you like to be woken up? Do you sleep deeply? Are you traveling alone? Do you have family? Who knows that you're here? Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities? Would you like to subscribe? How long can you hold your breath?
Okay, that was way too many questions. Questions that you don't need to know. Funny story, I've been able to breathe underwater. Sure, because I don't think that that's an appropriate thing to be asking all those questions for. Are we done now? Can I go to my room? The concierge's expression did not change a tiny bit from the duration of your conversation, let alone did he blink.
Thank you very much. That was all I needed to know. Now all you need to do is sign here.
He tilts his strangely shaped head over the guest register. Impatiently, you sign with... Noob Slayer? Okay, just... Jado is fine.
Sadly, we're all booked up this season. There's only one spare room. Here is your key for room 666. Enjoy your stay.
You look at the key, which has magically appeared on the counter, and your eyes slowly wander past the man to the wall, where countless other keys are hanging. Okay, so if countless other keys are hanging, then why is it that you're all booked up? And why is it that we got room 666? Okay, sure. What now? Book wellness sessions? I don't think that that is very important right now. I say go to our room. You look at the golden panel with the layout of the different rooms and floors. Room 666. There it is, 4th floor, left wing of the building. You walk up the stairs to the upper floors, but you can still feel the eyes of the concierge on you. Panting, you finally reach your floor. An almost endless corridor spreads out in front of you. At the other end, you can see a figure who seems to be as lost as you are. Didn't the building look much smaller from the outside? You walk down the corridor when you notice the figure approaching you. Your brain is mentally preparing itself for benign hotel small talk. But wait, It's you. You walk a bit further and realize you're standing in front of a mirror. That's why the corridor looks so vast. The mirror marks a fork. According to the room numbers, your room should be further on the left. In the corridor towards the right, you can see a small yellow sign on the floor. Maintenance. What do you want to do? Let's walk around in the other wing. I just kind of want to see. Well, you're already here. Might as well. You saunter to the other wing of the building. The corridor winds around several corners and leads you deep into the building. Just when you start to wonder what on earth you're doing here, you step onto something hard. The clicking sound makes you stop in your tracks. You kneel down to look at the glinting thing on the floor. It's a set of keys. Several keys on a metal ring, including a hotel key with the exact same curved shape as yours, and a car key with a black plastic top. Someone must have dropped it. Examine the floor more closely. Look for the room that goes with the key, yeah. On the key, there's a number engraved, 237. Conveniently, is precisely the door in front of you, on which you're standing. If only all your cases were that easy to solve. You could now return the key to the guest and have a good laugh about it all. Or just in case they're not there, you might have a little look around the room. Alright, let's knock on the door. In order to not blindside the guest, you decide to knock first. Either these wooden doors are soundproof or there's no one in. On the second try, no one opens the door. I guess, yeah, let's unlock it. Initiative is just one of your many great qualities. You unlock the door. In your mind, you are still trying to come up with excuses in case there is someone in the room, but only one glance at the state of the room is enough to dispel these worries. The room is completely dark. Not because the shutters are drawn, but because all the windows are plastered with several layers of newspaper clippings. Did a paranoid FBI agent live here? The smell of something that's been dying. Or dying. Lying. I mean, if it has been lying in the sun for a long time, I would assume that they would be dead, but... Okay. So anyways, there's something that's very smelly. Let's enter. All of this has intrigued you even more. You flip the light switch and shut the door behind you. 2 of the 3 ceiling lamps have burnt out. The remaining bulb is flickering and doing its best. With every step you take, your shoes come off the floor with a squelching sound. You don't even want to know what's sticking to the floor. What a mess. Tinted cans lie scattered on the floor. The many pieces of paper scattered on the floor give the room the air of a snowy landscape. If only it didn't smell so disgustingly. Next to the bed, a pile of empty plastic boxes is piled up and a swarm of flies is buzzing around it. One wall is paved with newspaper clippings, notes, and photos. I don't know how there's not, like, maggots and stuff. Actually, you know what? There probably are. And that's gross. Okay. Whoever lives here has spared no effort to create a complex web of places, names, and events. Colorful threads connect almost all the pin notes with one another. You are staring at the life work of a conspiracy theorist? You stroll through the room, opening drawers here and there, but all the cupboards are empty. A few pieces of clothing lie scattered on the floor. At first, you're not quite sure if they belong to a man or a woman. The shirts are plain, but appear to be tightly fitted. Then you discover a bra. Interesting. Is it really that interesting? Okay. You look around. Let's look at the wall more... Or wait. Yeah, let's look at the wall more closely, because that's what has all those information on it. Photos of well-known buildings have been pasted onto the map. A skull and crossbones scribbled over the area you recognize as the town center. Strange. Isn't this a tourist spot? A few more skulls have been scribbled on apartment buildings in intermediate intervals. In the harbor area where the village church is located, the word cult is written. The lighthouse has been circled vigorously with a black pen. 2 exclamation marks have been scratched into the map right next to it. Your gaze wanders across the map and the photos that have been pinned all over the map and the surrounding wallpaper. Your stomach cramps up when you suddenly see Dahlia Marsh's icy smile look down at you from one of the newspaper clippings. Annoyingly, the text is missing. You would have liked to know why her picture was in the newspaper. Looks like the corresponding newspaper has already been discarded. There's no other useful clue, just trash and bits of paper. Damn it, truly irresponsible. These people who think that no one ever gets to see their paranoia walls. You look around. Oh, yeah, sure, let's take some pieces of the paper. There might be some stuff on there. You grab one of the many pieces of paper laying around on the sideboard. Carefully, you unfold the scrunched up paper so that the piece doesn't rip, and you can still read the writing. A Polaroid picture falls out. It must have been stashed here in between the pages. You pick it up, and you're not really sure what you were expecting, but you weren't expecting that. It's Tabitha Marsh. It's not simply Tabitha Marsh. It's the exact same photo you have in your possession. Hastily, you fish it out of your coat pocket. You place the two pictures next to one another, and indeed both pictures are identical. How is that even possible with Polaroid pictures? On the back of the photo, Dahlia's address has been noted down in spindly handwriting. Whoever drove that van must have also been looking for Tabitha. You wonder if this was our predecessor, or your predecessor, a private investigator who has thrown in the towel? You almost forgot about the piece of paper from which the Polaroid had fallen. You recognize the handwriting. It's the same that has noted down the address. Thanks for an incredible night. We must repeat it. Dahlia's handwriting. You sit down on the bed, your eyes still on the note. Your detective instinct is kicking in. Usually it's just laying around in the corner of your subconscious all day, mostly hungover, but it's wide awake now. If Dahlia hired this detective before you, it could only have been a few days ago. Tabitha must have been missing only for a day or two, and her mother flirts with the first investigator she meets. She made eyes at you too, your subconscious tells you. Obviously, you didn't make as good as an impression on her as your predecessor did. You look around. Yeah, let's enter the bathroom. Let's just see what's in there. You knock on the door and announce yourself loudly. No one seems to be in, luckily. Hard to say what would have been more awkward, to acknowledge your presence or the utter mess all around. You flip the light switch. Guided only by the shine of the flickering light bulb, you step into the bathroom. The air is cold and wet. The bathtub is filled to the brim with water, and there are cosmetic products scattered all over the sink. What now? Yeah, let's inspect the bathtub. Doesn't look like anyone actually took a bath, though. The water is clean and clear. A bottle of shampoo and shower gel stand ready on a little stool next to the bathtub. Their caps are still shut, though. You dunk your hand into the water. It's ice cold. The dirt and the takeaway boxes were the first indication, but now there's no doubt in your mind. Whoever stayed here, lived here, had to leave the room very quickly indeed. Okay, let's inspect the sink. There are lots of cosmetic products scattered around the sink. There are definitely more than you brought with you. Someone was expecting to stick around for longer. Alright, so let's leave. Yep, there's really nothing else to do, so you've seen plenty. With deliberately careful steps, you maneuver the obstacle course of bits of paper, clothes, and scrunch up aluminum balls and leave the room. You pocket the key. You can always have a think later about what you're going to do with it. After 2 more confusing turns and giant mirrors, you reach room 666. Finally, you're going to drop your stuff and take a nap. Good plan. Of course, the door resists being opened. You jerk the key back and forth in the lock until you hear a satisfying clicking sound. A soothing warmth hits you as you enter the room. Immediately, the synapses in your brain switch into energy-saving mode. The trip to the Innsmouth has probably taken more out of you than you had thought. You don't even notice the rest of the room. The sight of the bed makes you yearn for a little shut-eye. Alright, well, what are we gonna unpack? We lost our briefcase or whatever, so I guess just rest. Your hand glides over the tightly pulled bedspread. No dust. That's a good sign, right? You carefully sit down on the edge of the bed just to make sure the mattress doesn't explode upon contact. You're delighted that there's no explosion. You take off your coat and shoes and stretch out on the bed. A mild but all-encompassing pain that you hadn't even noticed before melts off your spine. Everything is warm and pleasant. You feel free and weightless. Young people call this a power nap. You close your eyes for 10 minutes, then you'll probably be ready for the rest of the day. Sounds completely convincing. You close your eyes and snooze away. Oh, it is nighttime now. Okay. You transition fluidly into your dreams. You've only just closed your eyes and you're already somewhere else. Suddenly your worries are very different. You're running in a desolate gray maze of winding alleys. You can hear the cheerful laughter of a small child. If only you could catch up, you could save the child and take them home to safety. You sprint down the path and turn around the corner, then around another. The alleyway stretches out in front of you, but there's no person to be seen anywhere. What was that? Was that a shadow of the corner of the street back there? The silhouette of a figure? You realize that someone is following you. Run faster? The figure in the distance has already disappeared behind the next corner. Maybe you can still catch up with it. The alleys wind through the town in confusing ways. Nothing makes sense anymore. Wherever you move, you never arrive in the place you expected to. It feels as if slowly but surely you're walking right into the jaws of a massive monster. All of a sudden, the walls close in on you and the path becomes so narrow that you have to walk sideways in order to fit through. Whatever is behind you is getting closer. There's not much time left. I guess face the creature? There's no point in following this endless labyrinth forever. With bated breath, you turn around and look down the street you just came from in order to face whatever is pursuing you. No matter how hard you try, your eyes refuse to look directly at it. The tentacled meatball right in front of you seems to be only a small outgrowth of its much larger but only shapeless and impossible creature that is following you. You begin to despair. You look directly at it? It wasn't so bad after all, you thought when you opened your eyes. Oh god, that scared me. Whew. Okay, that scared me a little. Jeez. Panting, you wake up. In one panicked movement, you throw the blanket off the bed. What a nightmare. At least it's over now. Your room is still plugged into the greenish light. From the moon, it's still the middle of the night. Sleep is out of the question for now. Alright, look out the window. You approach the window. Even from the distance, the light of the moon blinds you. Everything is bathed in an unreal green shimmer. The stately houses across the hotel, the neglected, wildly growing hedges on the sidewalk, the mob armed with torches looking up into your room. The what? They're staring up at you. It's hard to tell who these hooded people are. Without wanting to be prejudiced, you assume that they are all the good citizens of Innsmouth. Some of the figures point with their torches to your room on the higher floor. Then they limp towards the hotel entrance. You briefly wonder if these type of people might know anything about missing children. You barricade the door, or should we take flight? But here's my thing, if they're coming in the hotel and if we run, we're probably gonna run into them, so barricade the door. They won't come into your room at this time of the night. You're a good girl. A blockade should buy you some time. It's almost as if the panic gives you superhuman strength. Without losing much time, you pile up cupboards and wedge them together to build a strong defense. Someone slips a key in the lock to your room from the outside. Your insides cramp. How is it that possible that the strangers have access to your room? But your grudge against Mr. Gilman must wait. You have other worries right now. The doorknob jerks. Someone pushes against the door, but it's stopped by the furniture. A few inches, that's as far as the strangers get. Finally, the angry voice outside speaks up. Okay, does anyone here not have mutated hands?
Silence. Spellbound, you listen, but all you can hear is the beating of your own heart.
Damn it,
Growls the stranger. The people start to complain and accuse each other. People seem to be walking up and down, but eventually they move away from your room. It sounds as if the doors to the other rooms are being opened. Slowly you sink down into the carpet. You didn't notice it before, but you are now bathed in sweat. When you can no longer hear footsteps or shouts from the outside, you stagger back to your bed. Although you are not 100% sure whether you are safe, sleep tempts you. It's just after midnight and your eyes are tired. Was this the only horde of armed lunatics on the road at that time? You spend the rest of the night.
Yeah, awake and alert? I would, yeah,
Of course. They'll never find you under the bed. You crawl under the bed, trying as best as you can to ignore the cobwebs that are covering your face. You lie huddled in the dark and convince yourself that this is a good idea. You struggle. The hours seem to crawl by, very slowly. Then it's dawn. In a haze, you walk into the bathroom and change. Your face in the mirror above the sink looks like it's aged by many years. You walk through the corridors, then down the stairs to the foyer. You give Mr. Gilman the key. I hope you had a pleasant night in our hotel. Very nice of you to bring back the key. Would you be so kind as to fill out our questionnaire? With a stiff smile, he hands you a sheet of paper and a pen. You,
I guess just fill out the questionnaire?
You roll your eyes pointedly, but then you start to fill out the form truthfully. Apart from the current personal details, would you recommend the Gilman Hotel to your friends? How satisfied were you with our service? Was there always a contact person available for you?
Wait, what? Okay.
You whistle quietly, the nerve of him. You'd love to ask Mr. Gilman questions about everything that went on last night, but an instinct that usually prefers to sleep advises you to get out of here while you can. None of the holiday makers that you met around town yesterday are anywhere to be seen on your way back. The bus leaving Innsmouth for Boston is already waiting for you. It seems to be just waiting for you. You and a handful of disfigured villagers. Not a single tourist is among the travelers. They were probably much smarter than you and all arrived by car. When the old bus starts to move, you decide to stop thinking about it.
Oh, okay. Boston, the 13th of November.
You jerk awake. Only the pale moonlight seeps through the blinds of your apartment. It must be very late in the night. You're soaked in sweat, as per usual. You sit up on the edge of the bed and try to calm down. You're safe. You're at home. You've managed to put an end to these schemes, the kidnappings and all the lies. You've escaped, but you're still under the spell of Innsmouth.
Oh, dang. So I guess that was our ending? A bad feeling. You returned to Boston. You did everything you could. Well, I don't feel like that's a horrible ending. Wait, I'm just looking at this woman down here on the left. She's like wearing a banner that says Innsmouth Crabs. Okay, well that's interesting. Alright, well that was my little showcase of the Innsmouth Case. I really did enjoy this game, but let me tell you that I have almost put in 19 hours worth of gameplay into this. Now that is including, I think, about the 4 hours I spent of actually recording my first go around before I realized, whoa, there is a lot more to this game that meets the eye. So just to kind of give you a little insight, from the little home screen here, you can actually find all of the endings that you can get, and there's 27 endings in total. Some of them are more crazier than others and a little bit more trickier to get to. So for instance, there's rabid ferrets, which is you get torn to shreds. Life is like a stack of rabid ferrets. But it was really, really fun trying to find all the endings. and getting there, because trust me, you get into some very interesting predicaments. But also, there are 21 locations that can be found in Innsmouth, and this is just kind of a map that shows you all the different places, and it'll actually say the percentage of the town that you have explored. So for instance, there is a brothel in Innsmouth, and yeah, there's some interesting situations that happen throughout. But yeah, and if you're an achievement hunter, there are a total of 23 achievements that you can obtain, and some of those are based on finding all the locations and getting all the endings. But yes, and I will say that during my playthrough, even my 4 hours of recording that I did the first go around, I never did find the little girl. Just there are so many different things that you can do in Innsmouth, and if your main focus is finding the girl, that is what you have to focus on. But yes, I eventually did. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody if you want to play this game, but the finding the little girl and taking her back to her mother Dahlia, that gets interesting as well. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But there's lots of places to explore. There's the brothel, there's actually a church, the lighthouse is pretty crazy. That's some interesting stuff. And also, if you choose the route of hitchhiking, that also gets you into some interesting situations. You get to meet a lot of people, let me just tell you that. But yeah, so I believe that that's going to be it for me. I really did enjoy this game. I think that it has a lot to offer. There's some definitely funny aspects of this game that will make you laugh if you take the time to actually sit down and read it through. It's really funny, and there is some little more, what I want to say, risque, kind of, just kind of hints at that in a few of the scenes. But yeah, I really did enjoy this game. I would highly suggest that you check it out. It's very fun. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope that you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I will see you guys all again next time. Goodbye.